Noah's Ark, trusting God through the storm. Tonight, as you settle down, maybe reflecting on your day, maybe preparing your heart for rest, let's journey back to one of the oldest and most powerful stories in the Bible. A story about obedience, faith in uncertain times, and trusting God even when the future feels unclear. Imagine the world thousands of years ago. It was very different from today. Cities were smaller, nature dominated the landscape, and humanity was still early in its history. But sadly, the Bible tells us something troubling about that time. People's hearts had turned away from God. Violence, selfishness, and corruption had become common. Kindness was rare. Faithfulness was fading. Yet in the middle of that broken world lived one man who walked differently. His name was Noah. Noah wasn't perfect, but he was faithful. He chose integrity when others chose compromise. He listened to God when many ignored him. And because of that, Noah found favor with God. One day, God spoke to Noah with an unusual instruction, something that must have sounded almost unbelievable. God told him to build an ark. Not a small boat. Not a fishing vessel. A massive structure, large enough to preserve life during a coming flood. Because God had decided to cleanse the earth from its widespread corruption, but he also wanted to preserve a future through Noah and his family. Now pause for a moment and imagine what Noah must have felt. At that time, large-scale rain wasn't something people had experienced. Building such a huge ark likely seemed strange to others. Some may have laughed. Some probably mocked him. Others might have questioned his sanity. But Noah chose obedience over public opinion. Day after day, year after year, he built. Hammering wood. Measuring beams. Following precise instructions. Trusting a promise he couldn't yet see fulfilled. Faith often looks like that. Quiet obedience. Consistent effort. Trust before evidence. And Noah didn't work alone. His family helped. His wife, his sons, and their wives. Together they prepared, even when the skies still looked normal. Then something remarkable happened. Animals began coming toward the ark. Pairs of creatures, large and small, wild and gentle, arriving as if guided by an unseen hand. It must have been an incredible sight. Soon after, Noah, his family, and the animals entered the ark. And then Scripture tells us something deeply comforting. God himself shut the door. Not Noah. That detail matters. It symbolizes divine protection. When God secures something, it is secure. And then the rain began. Not a light shower. A relentless downpour. Day after day. Night after night. Waters rising from above and below. Rivers overflowing. Land disappearing beneath waves. Imagine the sounds inside the ark, rain pounding, wood creaking, animals stirring, uncertainty surrounding them. Storms can feel like that in life too. Moments when everything seems unstable. When familiar ground disappears. When questions multiply. Maybe you've experienced storms like that recently. Financial uncertainty. Health concerns. Family struggles. Emotional exhaustion. Waiting seasons with no clear answers. The story of Noah reminds us of something crucial. God doesn't always prevent storms. But he always provides presence within them. The ark represented safety not because it was perfectly built, but because it was God-directed. And while the storm raged outside, Noah's family was sustained inside. Time passed, 40 days of rain, then months of waiting as waters slowly receded. Imagine the patience required. The monotony. The hope mixed with uncertainty. Faith sometimes involves waiting even after the worst seems over. Eventually, Noah released a raven, then a dove. The dove returned at first, no dry land yet. Later it returned with an olive leaf, a sign of hope. Finally, it didn't return at all. Land was reappearing. And then, at God's instruction, they stepped out. Fresh air. Solid ground. A new beginning. One of the first things Noah did was worship. Gratitude before rebuilding. Acknowledging God's faithfulness before moving forward. And then came one of the most beautiful symbols in Scripture. A rainbow in the sky. God's covenant promise, never again would a flood destroy the earth that way. A reminder that judgment would never overshadow mercy completely. A sign of hope after hardship. Rainbows only appear after rain. That's symbolic. Often, our greatest testimonies come after our hardest seasons. Noah's story speaks powerfully to us today. You may be in a building season right now, preparing for something you don't fully understand yet. It may feel repetitive, quiet, even unnoticed. Keep building. You may be in a storm season, uncertainty swirling around you. Stability feels distant. Keep trusting. You may be in a waiting season, storm past but clarity not fully here yet. Keep hoping, because God remembers. Genesis specifically says, God remembered Noah. Not that he forgot, but that he acted faithfully at the right time. God remembers you too. He remembers your prayers. He remembers your effort. He remembers your faithfulness. He remembers your needs. And just as the ark carried Noah safely through chaos, God's presence carries believers today through life's challenges. Sometimes that protection looks like strength to endure. Sometimes wisdom to navigate. Sometimes peace that surpasses understanding. And eventually, new beginnings come. So tonight, if your life feels stormy, hear this gently. Storms don't last forever. God's promises still stand. And safety is found in staying close to Him. Also remember, Noah didn't isolate spiritually during the storm. He stayed obedient. Faith isn't just believing before the storm, it's continuing to trust during it. And when the rainbow appears in your life, when clarity returns, when breakthrough happens, when peace settles, don't forget to give thanks. Because gratitude keeps faith strong. As you prepare for rest tonight, let these truths comfort you. God is your shelter. God is your guide. God is your protector. God is your promise keeper. Even when skies are dark, His covenant remains bright. And just like Noah stepping onto renewed ground, your future can hold fresh beginnings, restored hope, and deeper faith. So rest peacefully tonight. Trust the builder of your life. Trust the captain through your storms. Trust the God who places rainbows after rain. He is still faithful.